DreAllDay.com.
Friday, September 18th, 2015. Welcome to the Q&A. This is Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com, working your game enterprises. We are here. It's Friday, September 18th. Like I said, you're going to be watching this on Saturday, September 19th. It's a Q&A, which we do every week on this channel. Well, we didn't do it last week. If you didn't hear the announcement last week, I actually tweeted that it wouldn't be a Q&A because I was traveling. I was at a business conference last weekend, all day Friday and Saturday. I had people around me 24 hours straight for both days, so I couldn't have recorded it even if I wanted to. So I didn't even have a chance to record. So all the questions from 2 weeks ago, which was Q&A number 86, we're going to address those right now in Q&A 87. Then y'all leave comments in this video. I'll address it in the next one, which will be Q&A number 88. And again, the questions are wide open. Don't have to be basketball. We can talk business. We can talk personal development. We can talk relationships. We can talk whatever you want to talk, marketing, branding, speaking, whatever you want to talk, school. Let's get into it. And before we even start this, if you are not subscribed to my email list, which is DreAllDay.com/list, LIST, DreAllDay.com/list, make sure you are subscribed. I got a special announcement going out within the next week because I'm looking for some people who want to work, some hustlers, some entrepreneurs, people who at least got the entrepreneurial mindset, even if you aren't one yet. But some people who want to work and want to get ahead, want to work directly with me. Watch out for that email that's coming up next week. Make sure you are signed up to the list, DreAllDay.com/list. I will put a link down here below. If you don't see it, just scroll down through the vid description. You will see the link to make sure you are subscribed so that you can get that information when it comes out, because that will be coming out before the next Q&A vid comes out. So let's get right into the questions. So these are coming from like 2 weeks ago and over the last 2 weeks since I didn't do one last week. So the first one, KB says, there's a girl I like, her locker's next to mine. I'm really shy. I might choke if I talk to her and mess it up. Do I have any tips? Yes, go talk to her. So if you might choke and mess it up, then go choke and mess it up. That's better than not saying nothing and then having to live the rest of your life wondering what might have happened or what I could have done, what you could have done if you had the courage to talk to the girl. So go talk to the girl. Worst case scenario, you mess it up and she doesn't want to talk to you. But guess what? If she's interested in you, it don't matter what you say and how bad you mess it up, she's still going to want to talk to you. If she's not interested, it won't matter what you say because she's not going to want to talk to you. So you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So just go talk to her. Next. Kyrie23 says, well, I do a Q&A with Coach Rocky. He has a b-ball channel, and someone else chimed in. They was wondering if I did the same thing with shot mechanics. Well, y'all would have to tell me exactly what you want me to talk about with those people. If you look at the Q&As that I've done to this point, you'll realize that I don't really do Q&A videos with people whose video content is similar to mine, meaning a person who's on the court doing basketball drills or breaking down how some player did a move and talking about it, because what's the purpose? It's just two people talking about the exact same thing. We basically are redundant. There's no need for me to do a basketball video with somebody who does the exact same type of content that I do. If you look at the Q&As I've done so far, Nightwing, Big Brandon Carter, Pro Shot Shooting System, Kick Genius, I talk to people who do something. They might have some interest in basketball, but they also talk about something completely different. So there's kind of like an intersection at some point, but they also talking about something that I never talk about, so y'all can get some benefit from hearing from somebody that's coming from a completely different angle. So that's why I do videos with people who might be in basketball, but not all basketball. People who do something that's a little bit different than what I do. But if y'all can give me an interesting angle that would make it worthwhile for me to do a video with guys like the people you mentioned, let me know what that is in the comments and I'll look into it. I'm open to doing a collaboration with anybody if it's a good idea, but I really don't see where the idea would be. But maybe one of y'all have an idea that I don't have, so let me know. Next, Croat Swag says, how old am I? I'm 33 years old. Birthday 2382, February 3rd, 1982. Tay P T-Max says, how many times a day do you work out? Do you lift weights after you work out, or do you work out in the morning and then lift at night? Well, I've gotten many forms of this question 1,000 times over the years. How many times a day do I work out? So I don't really split my workouts out into separate. So I'll do them all at once. So if I'm going to lift weights, run, if I'm going to play ball, lift weights, and do cardio, I might do all three back to back to back or in some order. Overall, you can do it whatever way you want. I actually have a video discussing this in detail, like which one you should do first, whether you should do it in the morning or at night, and how I've done it over the years. So if you want more detailed answer, go look at that video where I address that question in full. Prince says, our team is struggling to have leadership. Our captain is not doing the job right. He wants to be the leader. Where does a beginner start in the realm of being a leader? That's crazy that you asked that question, because just this morning, being Friday morning, I just recorded a video on my Instagram page. I did a live stream on Instagram, which is Facebook, not Instagram, Facebook, not Instagram, Facebook. You can't live stream on Instagram. Facebook.com/work on your game. On my page, I did a live stream where I was talking about leadership and how 99% of people are just not leaders. 99% of people you come across are going to be followers. So, Prince, if you want to be a leader, as you say, then you need to take initiative, because that's the number one thing a leader does. A leader takes initiative. He doesn't look for somebody to tell him what to do. He goes and does it, him or her, whoever that happens to be. So if you want to be a leader, Prince, you need to take initiative and go do what you think is the right thing to do. You don't need to get advice. You don't need somebody to tell you what to do, because if you're looking for either one of those, then you're not really leading. You need to go do it and let people follow your lead. So whatever you think is the right thing you should do next, go do it. And if it's the wrong thing, then you'll make an adjustment. So just keep making adjustments and you'll keep learning. But the only way to learn how to be a leader is to go actually be one. Next, Emmett says, are the Hoop Handbook programs a day-by-day set of programs? Yes, they are day-by-day. Every single day, the Hoop Handbook will tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, where to do it, why to do it, and how to do it. Next, Christian says, when I get a Hoop Handbook, it says for Kindle, do I have it for smartphones? Well, Kindle is KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, which means you can get it, you can have the Kindle app on your smartphone. For me, for instance, I do not own a Kindle. I also don't own an iPad, but I can buy books from the iBook store, and I can buy books from the Kindle or /Amazon store, and I can look at both of those on my smartphone, on my iPhone. So yes, they are for a smartphone. When it says for Kindle, that means smartphone. So if you have an iPhone, you can still read Kindle books. All you gotta do is download the free Kindle app. And if you have an iPhone, then you can just get the iBooks app, same thing, and you can buy books off the iTunes store or music or whatever, and you can read books. That's why I read all my books on my phone now. I don't even own that many physical books anymore, because I read everything on my phone. So yes, answer to the question, yes, you can get Hoop Handbooks on a smartphone. You just need to don't go to the hoophandbook.com site. If you want Hoop Handbooks on a smartphone, then you go to the iBook store or the Amazon website, and you can just search hoophandbook.com, search the Hoop Handbooks, whichever one you're looking for, you'll see them on those respective sites, and you can get them for those respective apps on your smartphone. Next, Andrew says, what do you do? You're a senior in high school, so I'm guessing this is him, so I'm just going to say this as if we're talking about him. He's a senior in high school, he's going to graduate, he played basketball, he's good, but he didn't get recruited. He wants to have a basketball career overseas and still make money playing basketball. Well, go to college, Andrew, and walk onto the basketball team, make the basketball team, show your game for the next 4 years, and when college is over, go show your game for the professional scouts and get yourself a deal and get paid playing basketball. There, I just laid out your whole life for you right there, or at least the next 10, 15 years of it right there for you, so you're welcome. If you don't know how to walk onto a team, I have a post on my website, dreallday.com, under the guides and tips section, where I talk about how to walk onto a team. I also have a detailed video here on YouTube, how to walk onto a college basketball team. So go find those posts. Also subscribe to my email list, dreallday.com/list, where I have an email that I send out where I actually talk about that, how to walk onto a team, the exact steps that you need to take. Next, Sean. He asks, how does he become an impact player? He can shoot and handle the ball, but he's small, skinny, he's not athletic. What does he have to do to become a great player with his body? Okay, what does he have to do with his body to become a great player, I think is what he really means. If you want to work on your body, Sean, the number one thing you need to do is don't take a look at it, actually go get the 15-week Ultimate Athlete program at hoophandbook.com. Also, the Position of Power program. You can get both of those in a complete athletic package at hoophandbook.com. Or you can get those programs individually on the Kindle store, Amazon.com, or iBooks. So as far as working on your body. And his other question was, how does he become an impact player? So he's asking two different questions. You don't necessarily have to do something to your body to become an impact player, because you can have impact by playing basketball at a high level. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be tall, have big muscles, or be super athletic, because there are players in basketball, we all can agree, that are not super tall, not super big, muscular, and not very athletic, but they have an impact on the game. So you can have an impact without doing anything to your body. You just need to improve your skills, which means work on your game. So I guess that is doing something to your body, working on your game, and also getting game experience, and also increase your confidence, because the mental game is the main thing for everybody. Anybody can go out and practice every day for X number of hours, but if your mental game is not in the right place, then you're still not going to perform when it matters. So you need to work on your mental game just as much as you work on your physical game. And for help with that, you need to read the posts that I write on my website, dreallday.com, every single day, and also buy my book, The Mental Handbook, which covers the mental side of the game, which is what most players need, but most players don't pay any attention to, so they falling on their face so many times, then they finally realize, oh, I never worked on the mental side of the game. So you need that along with the physical. Next, Justin says, a month ago I had ACL surgery. He wants to know what ball handling or shooting drills he can work on while he recovers. He says he can run. He can't run at the moment. He's basically stationary. Well, Justin, you're on YouTube. Go to my channel, which you're already on, and look up the videos. Go look at my ball handling playlist. I have 2 complete ball handling playlists. That's over 300 videos for handling the ball, which you can do in your current state. And also I have some walk up and standstill shooting drills, which is basically what you're going to need since you can't run or jump. Go look at the walking and standing still shooting drills. I have plenty of those, so that's exactly what you need. They're right here on the channel. Next, Arian says, thanks for the great tips. He wanted to ask if I could watch some of his videos that are on his channel. Thanks, to keep up the good work. Arian, I appreciate that, but unfortunately, I don't watch people's basketball videos on their channel, because if I did, I'd have 1,000 people sending me videos, and then they want me to analyze it and answer a million other questions, so I don't do it. I don't watch people's videos on their channel, but maybe you'll find somebody who will. But I appreciate you being a fan of the channel. Next, Top Bottom Floor says, what made you move to Miami? Did I consider Jacksonville or Orlando? Made me move to Miami is the weather, the women, the lifestyle, and just I knew I wanted to be in this place. So overall, it was the weather. And the fact that I knew I was going into professional basketball, so it didn't matter really where I lived. I could do my business from anywhere. And even other businesses that I do, like marketing, branding, speaking, all that, I can do that stuff anywhere. It doesn't really matter where I live. I don't need to be in a physical location. Wherever I'm at, I'm going to have a market and clients and places I can do what I do. You can play basketball anywhere in the world. So Miami really was the weather, the main thing. I never considered Jacksonville, and I never considered Orlando, to answer your question. Kobe says, have you ever met someone that you believe had a negative outlook on life and stopped talking to them because of that? He said he just did that. He wanted to see what I had to say about it. Great videos and keep it up. Kobe, that's a great question. The answer is hell yeah. I meet people all the time who have that type of outlook, and I don't converse with them. I don't interact with those type of people. I keep those people out of my circle, and if I ever have somebody in my circle who starts to become that type of person, I'll talk to them. I'll let them know exactly what I'm feeling, exactly how I feel about their perspective on life, and I'll give them a choice. Like, either you improve that or you stay away from me, or we're going to kick you out of the circle, whatever environment we happen to know each other from. Listen, you ain't going to be part of this environment if you're negative. So yes, I absolutely do and have kicked people out of my orbit for having that type of mindset. So that's a good question. So, and it's also a good thing to do. So congratulations on doing that. Keep doing it every time that you have to. Clear out the garbage as much as possible. Because if you think about it, how often you take out the trash where you live? Probably like once a week at least, right? You got to keep taking out the garbage. So when there's garbage around you, you got to take it out and get rid of it. Next, Rick says, do you think you would have made the league if you had started playing basketball at a younger age? I don't know. I mean, that's a grand hypothetical question. There's a lot of things hypothetically I could say this would have happened if this and that would have happened if that, but there's no way of actually knowing. But as far as everything that I've done in my life, I wouldn't change anything. So I wouldn't go back and say, oh, let me start hooping 10 years earlier so maybe I make the league or anything like that. Everything that happens in life, I feel, for any individual, myself and anybody else, it happens exactly as it's supposed to. Next, C.A. Cardenas says, do you think the Clippers have a chance to win the championship? Because now they got Paul Pierce, Lance Stevenson, and Josh Smith. And he says, I'm a big fan of you. I watch your vids every day. I love to work on my game because of you. Well, thank you, Cardenas. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear it. As far as the Clippers, now that he says it, I haven't really thought about what teams got who, but now that he said that, he's right. They got Pierce, Lance Stevenson, and Josh Smith. That's a big upgrade they made at I guess that's the wing position with all three of those guys. I think they have a chance, definitely. The Clippers do have a chance to win the championship. I thought they had a chance last year until they blew Game 6 and then they folded up in Game 7. I think they definitely have a chance, to answer your question, yes, to win the championship. Next, D-Roy Adams says, if you play 2-on-2, do I treat it as a one-on-one, or do I consider myself more of a passer or a shooter? Well, I consider myself more of a scorer than a passer. So I don't know if you want to say shooter, scorer, whatever. More than a passer, definitely. Either one more than a passer. And when I'm playing 2-on-2, did I treat it as a one-on-one? No, I treat it as a 2-on-2 because it's not a one-on-one, it's a 2-on-2. Sullivan says, do you play all the 2K games? Which is your favorite? No, I don't play any 2K games, so I have no favorite because I've never played any one of them, not once. Hussein says, I'm a good shooter, but I can't finish that well. Do I have any tips on how to practice finishing? Yes, I do. I actually got about 3,000 of them. They're right here on my YouTube channel. So look up the Driving Moves playlist and you'll see all the tips that I have in video format. All you got to do is go follow them or you can go to hoophandbook.com actually, and you can go to hoophandbook.com and you get specific, detailed, step-by-step programs which will do it, show you how to do it for yourself. Next, Illest says, I have a problem. I'm afraid of missing a layup. When I practice, I make all my layups, but when it's a real game, I get afraid and I don't feel like cutting to the basket. How can I get rid of this fear? And I love your video, and they are a great help. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Illest. Well, obviously I haven't helped you enough because you're afraid of missing layups. So here's the thing. If you're afraid of missing a layup, you're going to keep missing layups, or you'll never try to make layups, and then you'll be a real failure because of the fact that you didn't try. The only real failures in life are people who don't try. Because if you try something and it doesn't work, all you got to do is try again and figure out a different way, and maybe find a different way to get the success that you want. It doesn't make you a failure if you try and come up short. But if you don't try at all, then that's the real failure, the people who won't try at all. So you don't want to put yourself in a position of becoming one of those people, because those people are losers. So you don't want to be that, Illest. So what you need to do is go out in a game. Go out on the court by yourself, first of all, and practice the layups that you're afraid of missing in a game, because obviously it's a game thing when you're missing. So in practice, you say you're making all your layups. So get a friend, somebody you know, or even somebody you don't know. Play one-on-one with them, or have them practice the scenario. Say, listen, I'm going to drive to the hole and try to make this layup. I want you to try to play D, or I want you to foul me, or I want you to act like you're going to block it, or I want you to try to block it, or I want you to do something. Just play regular defense. Play one-on-one. Put yourself in those situations over and over again. And then overall, really, you just got to get in the game and do it, man. There's only so much you can think about it. There's only so much you can practice. There's only so much you can visualize before you got to actually go out there and put yourself in a situation and actually do it where you could possibly fail. That's just how it goes. If you want to get better at something that you're afraid of, you got to go do it. There's not much I could say. There's not so much you can read. There's not so much you can watch on YouTube before you had to actually go out there and put yourself in the fire and figure it out. And it's not really you got to figure it out. You just got to go do it. It's all it is making a layup. Either you're going to make the layup or miss the layup. It ain't really nothing to figure out. You already figured that part out. So go out there and do it. Go play in games, as many games as possible. Miss layups. Hey, if you miss a layup, you just miss the layup. What's going to happen? The cop's not going to stop the game and arrest you. The lightning bolt is not going to strike you down. Nobody's going to beat you up. You just missed the layup. The game will continue. Next question. Stone Box says, I'm 5'7", I can grab the rim, but when I try to dunk, I miss by a few inches. Do I have any tips? Yeah, you need to jump higher. If you can't make the dunk, then you're just not jumping high enough. So get the jump manual at dreallday.com/jump. JUMP. The jump manual guarantees a 10-inch increase in your vertical over 12 weeks as long as you follow the program. You are coachable and you do what the program says. That is a guarantee. Sometimes people come on and they're like, oh, well, I don't believe the jump manual can guarantee 10 inches. Well, you didn't do it. So, of course, you don't believe it. You can't believe something that you ain't never fucking done. So if you do it, then it's going to give you the results. If you don't do it, or let's say you do 6 weeks of the program, or you do 8 weeks, or you do the program but you don't follow it the way it's supposed to, or you do your own thing in addition because you think you know everything that's in the program, which is what 90% of people who failed at the jump manual do, then of course you didn't get the results because you didn't follow the instructions. If you follow the instructions and do as it says, you will get results. The challenge is 90% of people don't follow the instructions. They don't do what it says. They don't get results, and then they say, well, it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't work. It works. You don't work. So if you want it to work, who is this? Stone Boxhead. You haven't done it yet. Get the jump manual. Follow the program. I guarantee results. You will be dunking at the end of 12 weeks. Next, Jesse says, any tips for a small business startup for college students that are pretty busy and won't have a ton of available time? Yeah, well, how are you going to do a small business startup if you don't have time? I mean, you got to put time in if you want a business to work. Businesses don't just pop off without any time or effort investment. So you do have to invest some time in a business if you want it to pop off. If you give me a little bit more details of what type of business, I can give you a little bit better answer. But it's kind of vague. You just said a small business startup. Small business can be a lot of different things. So it depends on how you're working. Do you have anybody who does have time to invest? Because if you can't invest time into your business is not really going to last. You got to put, when you're building a business, you got to put a whole lot of time at the beginning and get very little return. And then slowly you're putting in a little bit less time and getting a little bit more return to the point where if your business matures, you're putting in very little time but getting a whole lot of return. But that takes an investment of time up front. The challenge is, again, just like I said with the jump manual, 90% of people, probably more than 90, probably like 97% of people aren't willing to put in all that time investment at the beginning. When they get that little tiny result, most people quit at that stage. They never even make it to the maturity stage where they're putting in very little time and getting all the return on it. And this is, I'm not talking about a week. I'm talking about years and years of effort into a business. So you got to decide if you're really willing to do that. And the longer that it takes you to actually put all that time in, the longer it's going to take for your business to take off. So instead of being on a 1-year plan or a 10-year plan, it might put you on a 20-year plan if you don't have time to invest. So you got to figure out when and where you're going to have that time to invest to really put into making your business work, because it's not going to just happen by itself. Next, Marcus says, do you think watching film of yourself helps you improve your game? Yeah, I think so. I think if you watch film of yourself, it can help you improve. You can watch a game, see what you did wrong, see what moves worked against you, what move worked and didn't work, how you could have been in a better position in a certain play and things like that. Of course, anything can help. It just depends on how you do it. That's kind of like a hypothetical question. Of course, anything could help, but it depends on what you're doing, how you're doing it, how often you're doing it, how consistent you are. Next, Boom says, should I get knee surgery to get tall? Well, I never heard of that, so I would advise no. Braden says, do you have a girlfriend? The answer is yes. And then Brendan, this is a different person, Brendan. So we have Braden and Brendan. He says, you motivate me every day to go to play basketball and work on my game. You're a big inspiration. How was it like playing overseas? Well, first of all, I'm glad to hear that I'm an inspiration. How was it like playing overseas? It was fantastic. I actually wrote a book about it, The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. It's not really about playing overseas. It's about how to get started with a career playing overseas. But if you go to my website, dreallday.com, in the basketball section, I write about all my experiences, or most of my experience I wrote about on my website. So you can read about it and you'll get a complete answer to that question. Zarlin says, do I know Coach Rocky? No, I don't know Coach Rocky. Next, Take Flight says, I'm having trouble disciplining myself. I can't seem to follow my everyday schedule on time, and I can't seem to cut sugar out of my diet. How would you discipline yourself better? Well, you got to think about what the long-term effects of your actions are going to be, because if you eat a whole bunch of sugar today, it's probably not going to kill you. It's not going to make all your teeth fall out, and it's not going to hurt your health in general. But if you project that current path, whatever you're doing today that is not disciplined, and he said following your everyday schedule or cutting sugar out of your diet, you're not doing those things, think about where you're going to be a week from now, a month from now, 3 years from now, if you kept doing what you're doing right now. And it's either going to take you to a better place or it's going to take you to a worse place. There's very little neutral in the universe. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. So you got to think about where you're going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and then put yourself in a mind state that you're going to get that result today, immediately, the next time you do the wrong thing. That will give you the motivation to get out of the rut of not following your schedule and not cutting sugar out of your diet, basically not being disciplined. And I wrote a book about discipline. It's called The Mirror of Motivation. And that book is all about self-discipline. So get that book on iBooks or Amazon. Next, Elijah says, what are every single aspect of becoming an elite player? Well, I'm not going to tell you every single aspect of basketball, Elijah. You know how to play basketball, so you already know what aspects there are. So I'm guessing that you already know the answer to that question. So you got to come to me with a better question than that. Nitro says, I've been working but wasn't sure all the way. So I think I answered his question in the last Q&A. Don't remember what it was, but I'm glad that my answer was good for you. Congratulations, Nitro. Next, Lamont says, I was wondering what happened to you playing Smallville at Verse 1. Is there any way I could train with you? Well, the Verse 1 game never happened because I'm in Miami and Verse 1 is in Texas. We tried to make it happen 2 times. Neither time did it work. So logistically, it just never worked out. So that's why we never played. At this point, I wouldn't hold my breath about that game ever taking place in life. So, and his other question is there any way I could train with you? Probably not, Lamont. I don't do a lot of training with basketball players, honestly. So probably not. I'm going to just say probably not. Next question. But thanks for asking. Next is Josh. Says, I've been training all summer and I've gotten a lot better. Last week I played open run. I scored 3 points because I only got the ball 1 time. My question is, how do I show I'm ready to take over and lead the team? By doing it. You show that you're ready to do something by actually doing it. So you're already getting the opportunity to get on the court. Get out there and play the game. You said you only got the ball once. Well, go get the ball. Go steal the ball. Go get a rebound. That way you automatically got the ball. So you can't complain about not getting the ball. Go get the ball. Next, George Lee says, when I elevate high on my shot, I lose power and lose range. How can I have power in my shot while still having a high T-Mac-like elevation? Well, first of all, to have a T-Mac-like elevation, you got to become T-Mac. But you're George, so stop trying to be T-Mac. So first of all, you need to figure out what your shot is. So get close to the basket, jump high with the elevation, get the power in the shot, then take 1 step backwards and keep doing that. 1 step, 1 step, 1 step, 1 step, as long as you're comfortable. You get to the point where you're not comfortable, take a step in and get closer until you are comfortable. When you find a comfortable spot, you take not even a whole step, take a half a step backwards so that you're still comfortable, and another half a step, and just slowly keep moving back until you get to the point where you're at the range that you want to be shooting from, and you have that comfort, you have that, he said, his power and his range, which seems like the same thing to me. So you got to stay in the area where you do have power and range, and then move back very small increments until you're at the right point. Next, Jesse says, when I work out, how many drills should I be doing per basketball workout? As many as you want to. If you need to know how many drills to do, go get hoophandbook.com programs. We got over 150 programs on that site for you to choose from. Mister says, I don't know if it's too late, but every time I play basketball, I get bad cramps. Are any tips on how I can improve the accuracy on my shot? All right, so he asked for two things. Well, if you're getting cramps, you probably need to take some liquids, more fluids in your body before you play. Not while you play, not after you play, but before you play. So I'm talking about a couple hours before you play. Load up on fluids like water. I don't drink any other fluids but water, and in extreme cases, I'll drink a Gatorade. Like if I'm playing outdoors or something, or running or doing something like that outside, I might drink Gatorade. But overall, it's mostly just water. Fast digesting carbs, which would be an apple, is good, and also bananas are good. So you can take those even during competition or right before, or during exercise or right before. And how to improve the accuracy of your shot? Work on your game. If your shot's not going in, you ain't practicing enough. So start shooting more often until it's going in. Next, Darian says, my problem is driving. I saw your other video, but this is different. He says, if he drive past this guy and the help defender is coming and he turns the ball over, well, you need to play in more games. Because if you're asking these game-specific questions, like I did this, and then the other guy did that, and then I had this outcome, what should I do? You need to play in games more, because you're not going to be able to think of what I told you and memorize it for the game. And even if you did, just because you memorized for that particular situation, what if something different happens? Then what you going to do? You can't memorize an infinite number of possibilities, because the game of basketball presents an infinite number of possibilities of what could happen in a game. So you can't memorize every way to respond to everything that could happen. The only way you'd be able to do that well is to develop instinct. And you get instinct from doing things, not from thinking about them, not from watching somebody else do it, not from reading it, not from talking about it. You got to go out there and actually do it. So that is the way to your answer, is to go do it. Next, Garrett says, did I have a Brian Scalabrine hoop handbook? No, not yet. Maybe one day in the future. Next, Zangelo says, I want to know what's the difference between 5-on-5 and a part and 5-on-5 in an actual game, because I do bad in the game. And he asked me, do I usually try to force the defender to their weak side or play them straight up? I think he means the offensive player. What's the difference between a 5-on-5 and a part and a 5-on-5 in an actual game? Well, that depends. It might not be no difference between which 5-on-5 and which part and which actual games you're talking about, because there are a million different 5-on-5 games going on right now in parks across the world, and there are a million different actual games going on, whatever you consider to be an actual game going on somewhere else in the world. So they're all different. So it could be no difference. It could be a world of difference, but that depends on the games that you, Zangelo, were playing in. So I can't answer that question in general, because every game is different, every player is different, every situation is different. And then he asked, do I usually force the defender to their weak side or play them straight? I think he means the offensive player. I don't usually do anything. Every situation is unique, so you had to adjust based on the situation in front of you. And I know a lot of people want there to be some tidy, neat answer that you should do all the time that will make it very simple to remember. But guess what? If the game was that easy, everybody would be good at basketball. The reason most people ain't good, because they don't want to do the work required to be able to deal with every situation. They want you to give them some basic, quote-unquote, straight answer. They'll tell them exactly what to do in every situation. Life doesn't work like that. If you want to be told exactly what to do in every situation, you're going to be at the bottom of the pyramid of everything that's going on in life, whether that be work, business, basketball, relationships, everything. If you wait for somebody to tell you exactly what to do and exactly how it's going to go, it doesn't work like that. People are always changing. Situations are always changing. No two things are going to happen exactly the same way. So you got to be able to deal with it instinctively in basketball and in life. Next, Anthony says, I'm a junior in high school. I'm trying to dunk. I'm 6'2". I can dunk with a smaller size basketball. His question is, what are some exercises he can do to help him hold on to a normal size ball instead of letting go at the last second? I actually have a video on my channel called How to Palm a Basketball. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to palm it immediately, but it teaches you some exercises. My guy Jacob of Jump Manual actually made this video of how you can actually work to stretch your fingers better so that you're better at holding on to a regulation size ball. So go find that video, Anthony, watch it, and that'll help you out. that is it for this week's Q&A. Those are good questions. Again, the floor is open, so y'all can ask me questions about stuff that's other than just playing basketball, whatever you want to talk about, business, life, school, sports, relationships, anything. But anyway, that's it for this week's Q&A. Make sure you sign up to the list. It's right here in the video description, dreallday.com/list. That email is coming within the next week. Work on your fucking game. dreallday.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.